This is Escolite BSS 15. First connect the air tube into the machine. Here is the inlet. Just push it in and it will stick. Switch on the electricity. Okay. Switch on the air inlet. The minimum air pressure is 4.5 bar. The best air pressure would be around 6 bar. This is the normal startup of the machine. You have to wait a few minutes until the machine has heated up. So, use only original Escolite yarn with the YRS RFID sticker. Put the cone on the tap of the machine firmly. Then introduce the thread into the thread guide. First the lower part, then the upper loop hole. And then into the tension device, the rear tension device, like this. Open the flap. Take a piece of about 20 centimeters of threads and keep it in your hand above the Venturi thread insert. Then you touch the air symbol on the screen and keep your finger on. Then lower your hand to let the thread suck in until it comes out on the front. With your forefinger, pull the tension spring out so the rivet will come out. Then wrap the thread clockwise around the rivet once and let the spring loose. Then keep the thread in your hand while closing the flap and rip it off in an upward movement. Yes. On the display you have 3 memories, 1, 2 and 3. You have the counter of buttons that can be put to 0 by touching. You have the number of wraps on the right hand side. When you touch, you can alter the number of wraps. Minimum for shirts is 10, minimum for jackets is 15, minimum for as you want, as you feel you can increase, and confirm by this enter symbol. On the left hand side you can close the display to avoid errors by the operator. So if you want to change, you have to enter a code to open this lock. The code is 131. Now you can alter as you want. Or you can open the lock again by touching it and entering the code 131 again. Now you see the lock is open. On the right hand side you see the menu for adjustments and regulations. This will be a separate, I will explain separately. To use Escolite wrapping, it is important to sew the buttons with a minimum distance to the fabric. We recommend at least 2.5 millimeters for shirts or 3 millimeters for jackets. You can adjust this on your button sewing machine. To wrap your button shank correctly, you have to slide down this slot until the start lever is touched and keep it there until the end of the cycle. Insert into the slot. Perfect wrapping without tails. For a perfect wrapping, always slide along the front shield. Never pull back. Slightly push forward. For the mechanic, for the technician, this menu is useful. By touching, you get into this menu. Here, YRS means yarn recognition system. You can recognize if you have the original Ascolite thread, yes, and if you how many wraps, how many buttons you can do with this cone, with one cone. You see there's 8,900 buttons left, so it's very sustainable and long-lasting. The second one, this program is for sequential program. For instance, if you have a garment with 5 buttons with 10 wraps, and then you have a longer shank which needs 15 wraps, you can program this sequence in this sequential program. Here you can choose your language. We have 16 languages: Portuguese, French, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Chinese, Vietnamese, Turkish, etc. This program is closed. It's only for servicing for Ascolite. This program with the yellow symbol and the screw key is for the technician. You have to enter the code, which is 1980. This program you have 7 options. First is the cylinder test. This is the output test to see what the machine can do, to control if the functions are working. Thread clamp right. Here you can also open the flap or completely open the machine and see if the machine is really doing what you ordered to do. These are the thread clamps, left and right. The thread tear off, ripping off the thread. The heating comes forward, heating fork comes forward. You can see here, you can control. You can open these 4 screws for cleaning. For cleaning the heating fork, this is very useful. Then you have thread blowing in, meaning that the venturi is working. Heating fork opens the heating fork, and the vacuum is for the exhaust. Exhaust of the thread should happen here. Not always, not all the thread rests are exhausted, so it's necessary to clean once a week with an air pistol the machine from inside. Second option is the input test. So you can control if the switches are working, the micro switches. Start lever on. You actuate this, and you can see that the micro switch is working. And the same with all the other options. Here you can choose if you want the temperature on or off. Off is only necessary when you want to clean something, or for the technician when you don't want to be burned by the heating fork. But normally it's always on yes, on full temperature. Start delay is useful if you have difficulties to introduce the button into the slot, to avoid that the machine will start before you have introduced fully your button. It will delay only by a fraction of a second, but normally we don't put it on. Sealing time is the maximum is 1 second. If you feel that you need more sealing time, but normally 0.5 is sufficient.